Welcome to the 2018 Cuyahoga County Judicial Candidate Forum. My name is Yumi Yin. I'm the chair of the board of Westlake Chinese Cultural Association, and I'm president of APAPA, Ohio. And this event is supported by Asian Corporation and the ACE Network.
The Cuyahoga County judges, and over this weekend and next Saturday, will be meeting with candidates who are running for the Court of Common Pleas, and they hear both the civil and the criminal cases for Cuyahoga County. We'll be meeting candidates for Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court and candidates for the Cuyahoga County Court of Appeals. Each of these candidates who succeeds in the election will hold a term for 6 years. The election is nonpartisan, so when you look at your Cuyahoga County ballot, assuming you're voting in Cuyahoga County, you won't see a record of whether the individual is a Democrat or a Republican. And that sometimes makes it harder to pick because you can't just vote down a party ticket. So candidates forums like this are an important way to get to know the individuals who are running for office. And it's very hard work. I've been running a long time since the May primary to get this far. So just being a candidate is enormous. I'm a member of the Judge for Yourself screening committees, and that's a group of several organizations that does this over the course of the summer, usually over 2 days, to screen the candidates. And if you need any background or ideas about voting, or from people who aren't here today, you can go to judgeforyourself.com, and there is some records of that on the literature table. Our moderator this morning is my friend, my Tai Chi classmate here, Debbie Thomas. Debbie is also a member of the Westlake Chinese Cultural Association Board of Directors. She teaches math at Tri-State Community College, so she knows how to moderate. And at that point, I'd like to turn this over to her.
Okay, the forum for today is we're going to start, I'm going to ask the judges to introduce themselves. They'll have 4 minutes to introduce themselves and explain why they're running for office. And then what we're going to do is we have 2 students. First student is my daughter Samantha. She's a Westlake High School junior, and she's going to be asking the judges a question as well. And then Catherine Chow, she's a freshman at Westlake High School. And so she will also be asking questions. After the introduction questions, then each candidate will answer each of the other questions and have 2 minutes to answer each of those questions as well. After we're finished with those specific questions, we're going to open it up for the audience to ask questions. And you will ask, if the audience has a question, you'll direct the question to a specific judge. So at that point, we'll have each judge, only a single judge answering that particular question. Okay?
Well, good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming out today. This is a wonderful event. I can tell you when I got this in the mail, I was very excited about it, and I responded the same day and got another response back. I reside in Fairview Park, Ohio, and I have for about the last 30 years. I've been married to my wife, Mary, for 39 years, who's a nurse with the Cleveland Clinic System, who for most of those 35 years or so was at Lakewood Hospital, and then she came over to Fairview Hospital when the system closed down in Lakewood. I have 2 children, Jack and Libby. We reside in Fairview Park, where I am the law director. Previous to being the law director for 3 years, I was an assistant law director. And I do that out in the city of Fairview Park. My law office is downtown at the Rockefeller Building, which is centrally located between Federal Court and Common Pleas Court. I'm running for the Common Pleas position, and my partners are Henry Hilo and Kevin Spellacy. Henry and I have been together for 26 years in practice, and Kevin came with us about 22 years ago, I think it is. So we have a great practice. We do mostly criminal defense. In Cuyahoga County is our primary. We go to Lorain, Lake, Summit, Cuyahoga. I've been to up to Toledo, to Youngstown, to Columbus to Cincinnati. I've been to West Virginia in a case in federal court where I was able to get a license to go into federal court for that particular case. I've tried cases in all the systems, municipal, state, and federal.
Thank you so much. It is truly a privilege and an honor to be here this morning. And I'm going to tell you why. I am on a ballot running countywide for the term that begins January 11, 2019. I'm a kid from the southeast side of the county, born and raised in the Morris Black Projects of Cleveland. So for me to be here today, talking to a group of individuals in Westlake and asking them for their support is truly a blessing, and I am humbled. I have practiced law for the last 19 years. Criminal defense, family law, probate law. I've been a judicial officer. I was a magistrate in County Juvenile Court under the Honorable Janet E. Burney. I was her magistrate and her bailiff. I've been a magistrate in Bedford Court, where I've handled small claims and criminal matters. I taught for 20 years. I taught government, history, law, coached the mock trial teams. We were 4th in the state. I currently serve as the Assistant Law Director and Prosecutor for the City of Bedford Heights. And I think that that's a good thing, because on Tuesdays I'm the prosecutor, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday I'm the defense attorney. So therefore I have a full view. As my dad used to say, you can see all 4 corners, and I think that that's a good thing. I've been a guardian ad litem in County Juvenile Court, and I believe that the breadth of my experience distinguishes me from my colleagues. I'm qualified. Cross the T's, dot the I's. I have a bachelor's degree in history, I have a master's degree in curriculum instruction, and of course I have a law degree. And I worked my way through undergraduate school. As a maid at the Ramada Inn, making some beds and cleaning some toilets, stacking some trucks for UPS, and a store clerk. Worked my way through law school, taught full-time at Cleveland Heights High, attended law school at night, raising 4 children with my husband of 46 years, and yes, he should just be getting out of jail. We've been there before. We're good, we're good. But all of that, I survived on 3.5 hours of sleep for 3.5 years to get my law degree. I've had so many life experiences that I believe prepares me for that position on the bench, aside from my professional experience. My husband's sister was bipolar, and we raised her daughter. My sister was schizophrenic, we raised her daughter. People who come before the court have mental health issues, and we've dealt with that personally in our lives. My husband's brother came back from Vietnam with PTSD. We dealt with that. There are so many layers of things that I have had to handle in my life that I think it just brings another element to the court that I think is necessary. I'm prepared to serve the residents of this county. I'm ready to serve the residents of this county. I need your support in order to do that. I came through a very crowded primary race. I had to fight to get through. There were 6 people in that race. And I'm just thankful that I'm able to be here and address you today. I say to you, on November 6th, I'm on your ballot. I am on the 2nd page. I am the last race. I'm asking you to consider my candidacy. We say on November 6th, it's Turner time. What time is it?
It's Turner time.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Satola. I am on the ballot as James W. Satola. And to clarify one thing in the beginning, I am the endorsed Democratic candidate and running against a current judge on the Common Police Court named Kathleen Satula. So you're going to see 2 similar names in my race. To briefly introduce myself, I am a native of Cleveland, Ohio. I was born in Shaker Heights and went to Ohio State for undergraduate degree, where my degree was actually in zoology, because I began my studies to be an eye surgeon, actually. And then after working a couple years in medical research at the Cleveland's Veterans Hospital on University Circle, I changed course and decided to go to law school, where I went to Case Western Reserve University beginning in 1986, graduating in 1989, and truthfully I wanted to be a judge since I was in law school. I almost went to law school with the specific desire to be a judge. And in fact, the first job I had beyond law school was as a law clerk to one of the most legendary United States district judges, federal judges here in the United States, named John M. Manos, who was a judge for over 30 years on the federal court and a state judge before that. After working with Judge Manos, I was with the law firm of Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey here in Cleveland, which has offices all over the world. I mention that because in the course of my working with the litigation department at Squire, Sanders, and Dempsey, I had the occasion to try cases in state and federal court throughout the country, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and in a number of different countries. In fact, I spent the last 13 years of my litigation career at Squire Sanders in a case that brought me to various cities in China 8 times. I started off with a case that was on the island, and I was in Taipei, going back and forth for depositions. But then from 2000 to about 2010, I had cases that took me to Beijing, Shanghai, and then Hong Kong 5 times, which is really one of my favorite cities in the world. I have to say that waking up and seeing the view, the ferry going back and forth across Victoria Harbor is something that meant a lot to me. And the reason why I would go to Hong Kong had to do with the logistics of managing a legal case where the other party was from the People's Republic of China. It was much easier to be in Hong Kong, which still had the British, somewhat English system of courts and litigation, and it made it easier because the case was actually in St. Louis in federal court in the Eastern District of Missouri, and all the attorneys involved were from the United States. I had the unusual situation of being in Hong Kong, beginning a deposition of the company's president once, when the court reporter machine caught on fire. And it was like, great, we flew 6,000 miles to get here. But the court reporter actually got the machine from someone else. We had to finish our work there. After being with Squire Sanders, I was on the Cuyahoga County Board of Revision, which is, if you believe your real estate taxes are too high, it's essentially the Court of Appeals of real estate taxes. And I spent a year doing that. And then after that, I have been on my own, primarily doing individual practice, but I'm also very involved with the Federal Bar Association. In fact, my pin is from the foundation of the Federal Bar Association, and I do a lot of volunteer work. One of the happiest things I do is for 13 years I have taught constitutional law and constitutional rights in the Cleveland schools through a program, in East Cleveland schools through a program called the 3 R's program, which stands for Rights, Responsibilities, and Realities, where we teach 10th and 11th graders about their constitutional rights, their constitutional responsibilities, and the realities of being a productive citizen, including how to further their education to achieve their dreams of what they want. As I mentioned, I wanted to be a judge since I was in law school. This is not the first time I've run. I've run a number of times before. And this time, please help me make it a reality. This is really my life's dream. So, on November 6th, James W. Sitola. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at that lights right here. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jennifer O'Malley, and I am a candidate for juvenile court judge. I grew up in the city of Cleveland, but I have actually been residing in Westlake for the past 6 years. So I live right down the road, right by Crocker Park, with my husband, Greg, who is a criminal defense attorney who specializes in DUIs. And then I have a son, Cash, who is just turned 5 months old. So like I said, I'm running for juvenile court judge. I am currently an assistant Cuyahoga County prosecutor. I've spent my entire career in the prosecutor's office, and I actually began working there after my first year of college. So I started working there in the summer and continued to work there every single summer throughout college as well as law school, and then was hired there and started in our juvenile court unit upon passing the bar exam. So the first couple years of my career, I spent prosecuting cases in juvenile court. From there, I went into our general felony unit downtown, where I handled adult felony cases, ranging from low-level drug and theft cases, up to and including homicide cases, sexual assault cases, aggravated robberies, felonious assaults, and everything in between. From there, I went into our economic crime unit, where I primarily focused on fraudulent prescription pill ring cases. So I had a front row seat to the opioid epidemic that is plaguing our community these days. And then for the past year and a half, I've been in our Internet Crimes Against Children unit. So I'm one of 2 prosecutors that handles cases that occur in Cuyahoga County involving the online exploitation of children. I think that with the increase in social media and cell phones and electronic devices, there are a lot of crimes that are being committed using social media, and we also are able to, with that technology, solve a lot of our crimes, whether it be from posts that are going on Facebook or Instagram, from cell tower records, things like that. So those are the types of cases that I specialize in. And I handle those cases in adult court as well as in juvenile court. And one of the things that I'm involved in juvenile court is a juvenile sexting diversion program. So kids that are coming into the system that have a sexting type case, we will try to put them into the diversion program so that they don't have charges that they can be convicted of and aren't labeled as a registered sex offender. It's always been a passion of mine to be in public service. I began in public service when I was about 15 years old. And I've spent my entire career, legal career, in public service, and I thoroughly enjoy advocating on behalf of our children as well as our community. And I would be honored to do that from the juvenile court bench. I think that we can strengthen upon some of the programming that we have over there. One thing that I think that we can do is have a centralized diversion program. Right now our diversion program down there is run out of the suburbs. And I think that every single child, whether they come from Westlake, Pepper Pike, the city of Cleveland, or Parma, should all have an equal opportunity to a second chance and diversion. And I think that that should be run through our juvenile court. So that's something, if elected, that I would like to see. Another thing is, I am the daughter of a former labor leader. My dad was in the electricians union for over 30 years and recently retired. And I am a firm believer in the benefit that unions can have on our families as well as our communities. So one thing that I would like to do, if elected, is to collaborate with the building trades to bring awareness and possible job opportunities to our juveniles that are coming through the system. Not every child wants to go to college or maybe can afford to go to college. So if they're aware of other job opportunities out there, I think that that can be a real benefit.
The Court of Appeals. This is the only race that is contested in the Court of Appeals. So I thought I'd take half a second. First of all, I want to apologize. It's been a long 18 days, so I apologize for the attire, but we're going jumping from place to place. The Court of Appeals is the court that oversees the Common Pleas Court. In fact, it oversees 5 different courts. So if you've ever been involved, even in a traffic ticket, in municipal court, probate court, domestic relations court, juvenile court, or the Court of Common Pleas of General Division, the Court of Appeals reviews all those decisions. And it's really important to have somebody that has experience in that court. And that's why I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm in fact the only candidate in this race that has ever practiced in the Court of Appeals. In fact, I practiced in both state and federal court, tried cases all the way in the Common Pleas Court and up through the Court of Appeals. I am one of only 28 attorneys in the entire state of Ohio that is a certified appellate specialist and has additional requirements because I practice in this court. I am a partner at a large firm in town called Reminger, for those that might have heard of it. I have been practicing for over 25 years. I am, on a personal note, the first in my family to go to college, and I've worked my way all the way to pay for my entire undergrad and my law school, waitressing all the way up through. I'm a resident of Rocky River, 3 children, been in the community a long time. And I'm sure you'll hear a lot of this today. Don't think that voting is only on Tuesday, November 6th. Voting has already started. You can go down to the Board of Elections if I have my friend Charlie, is Charlie still in the room? Can he run away from me? When I get him, I'm gonna have him come back. Voting has started at the Board of Elections. You can go down there Monday through Friday, and then the next 2 Saturdays, not today, next 2 Saturdays and Sunday, and you can cast your vote right now. And on this bookmark, we have all the hours for you. So when I catch Charlie, then I'm going to have him hand it out. But as Sue said, there's no D, there's no R next to our names. I hope you do some research. If you still have questions, we're here to answer them. Look at our experiences, look at our qualifications, and I hope I can earn your vote, Michelle Sheehan, for the Court of Appeals. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Brian Darling. I'm running for judge of the Common Pleas Court. A little bit about my personal story. My wife and I have been together for 22 years. We have 2 children. They attend St. Raphael School in Bay Village, and home is Westlake for the Darlings. For the past 14 years, I've been a trial attorney. I own my own law firm. It's a 4-attorney law firm called Darling Duffy in North Olmsted. And we focus on helping individuals and businesses with both civil and criminal needs. I lead all the trial matters for the firm. I primarily practice criminal defense, and that has given me hands-on upfront experience in courtroom procedure and due process. Prior to law school, I was a management consultant for a consulting firm called KPMG Pete Marwick. I attended undergraduate school at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and went to law school at Case Western here in Cleveland. My father served our country in the United States Marine Corps, and as a result, my childhood address changed often. And so I grew up for about 10 or 15 years in the Washington, D.C. area when he was stationed at the Pentagon. And when I graduated from college, I moved back here with my wife, as our family is originally from here in Cleveland. I've been fortunate enough to receive the endorsement from the Plain Dealer and have received a high rating from JudgeForYourself.com, and encourage you to take a look. Thanks for Sue for pointing out that important resource. Again, I live in Westlake. I enjoy doing CrossFit at the gym, playing golf, and doing activities with my kids. You'll find me various points around Westlake walking my dog, Maximus. And again, Common Pleas Court, so we handle criminal felony cases and civil lawsuits. And so on November 6th, or as Michelle just pointed out earlier, if you vote early, I'd ask you to consider Brian Darling for judge of Common Pleas Court. Thanks so much.